is guitarist Mark Cabbage, and welcome to today's MusicMoose.org lesson on beginning blues guitar. Today we'll be learning how to play the standard 12-bar blues shuffle, and I'll also review a few things about how to hold the guitar pick and so forth. So that you know what you're going to be learning, let's take a listen to the 12-bar blues up to speed. What I just played was in the key of E, which is a standard blues key, especially for guitarists. It's especially nice since it's considered open. That is, you don't have to fret all the strings. Now, let's walk through the chords to understand the structure. The 12-bar blues is traditionally one bar of the 1 chord, or the E7th here, followed by 1 bar of the 4 chord, or A7th. It then goes back for 2 bars of the 1 chord, E7th again, followed by 2 bars of the 4 chord. Okay, and then we resolve back 2 bars of the 1 chord once again. And finally, we're going to get to the tension of the blues, or the 5 chord, which is 1 bar, followed by 1 bar of the 4 chord, followed by 1 bar of the 1 chord. And then we have a turnaround where we play 1 bar of the 5 chord. Okay, now sometimes you'll see the 5 chord turnaround cut in half. And this is a little hard to follow from the video. The tablature and article is available at musicmoose.org, so hopefully that will help. So now that we've gone through the 12-bar blues, let's walk through how you'd play this on the fretboard. Okay? Now, the whole song consists of this alternating pattern here, where I'm just using double strops. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm fretting the 5th string, or the A string, at the 2nd fret, and I'm using the open E string. Now this is for the 1 chord. Okay? Now I'm just going to say that I'm not going to play the entire song through here. I'm just going to kind of talk about this a little bit so you can see the patterns. And when I'm done, we'll go through it at a slow tempo so you can see how it would sound as you practice yourself. So what we're doing is we're just going to do just constant up and down strokes, and we're just going to alternate here between the 2nd fret of the A string, the 4th fret of the A string, and sometimes the 5th fret of the A string, and the whole time leaving the 6th or E string open. Okay, so let's just take a walk through this slowly. Okay, so that's what you would play over the 1 chord. Now over the 4 chord, it's actually the exact same pattern, the exact same fingerings, except you move it south on the fretboard 1 string. So what you're going to do now is you're going to use the index finger to fret the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and you're going to alternate on the 4th and 5th frets of the 4th string, and you're going to be using the A string as a double stop. Okay, so what I like to do here too sometimes, I wrap my thumb around just to mute the lower string if you can. Okay? Now, you should notice that that right-hand pattern is actually just constantly the same all the way through the song, and so is the rhythm of the left hand even. So, okay? Now, when you get to the 5 chord here, or the B7 chord, this is the only part where it's a little bit tricky on the left hand. It may be a little hard for some of you when you're first starting out to reach this, but you're going to have to do the best you can. It's just something, I mean, your fingers will stretch out over time. I mean, when I first started playing the guitar, I could barely, reach a 3-fret span. I mean, it does work out. What you're going to do now is you're going to take your index finger and fret the 2nd fret of the A string. You're going to take your ring finger and fret the 4th fret of the D string. And your pinky is going to alternate here on the 6th fret. Now, if you're feeling adventurous, or if you have long fingers, you can reach up here, and you can also fret the 7th fret of the D string to get that same pattern going. But it's not really necessary if you have a hard time with it, okay? Okay, and then you come down, you do the same thing again we did before in the 4 chords. Okay, and then lastly, the turnaround lick is just a little triad there. We're just to scrape the 4th. So now that we've gone through this and you've seen how the fingerings are, let's just go through the song at a very, very slow tempo here the entire way through, so you can see that you can put it all together essentially. Let's put the timing and the fingerings together. Okay. That's the 12-bar blues. One thing I should mention here that I probably omitted before is just those little times there between the chord shapes. I'm actually just using the open double stop. So you see just that one little thing there. Okay, so now that you have that, that should be the entire song. Now, one last thing I'd like to show you today before we end the lesson is now that we've gone through the song, the 12-bar blues, I just would like to show you one thing about how I hold the pick, because that seems to really confuse a lot of beginners, and this is something that, as I've shown people over the years, I think this has probably helped them more than anything else. Okay, so now your traditional pick here, your triangular-shaped guitar pick, what you think people would do is you would take the triangular part here, or the tip, and you would play, in this sort of shape here, where you have the the tip there going down across the strings. Now, I find that problematic because there's so much drag coming out there. There's a lot of surface area here exposed to the strings. So what I do is I actually turn the pick 90 degrees from the way you think it should be played. Now, so let's just look at how I do this, okay? So what you want to do is you want to take your right hand and take your index finger and hook it like this, okay? You take the pick and just lay it down there with the round edge, or one of the round edges, facing out where you can use the strings, or where it can hit the strings. And then you just take your thumb and just lightly hold it there. You don't need to get your hands all white-knuckled or anything like that. You just need to hold it just tight enough just to hold it. And sometimes as I'm playing, it'll slip a little bit between my fingers. So that's not unusual. And one last thing I should point out is that as I go up and down across the strings, I also will sometimes articulate my joints a little bit like this. For every up and down stroke. Just like this. Okay, because what that does is that'll just give me a little extra speed because, again, it's less drag going across the strings. So that's essentially what I do, and that's how I hold the pick. And I mean, I hope it helps you. It's really all about how you look at it and what works for you, what's best for you. Okay, I mean, this is best for me. Try it. If you don't like it, don't use it. But it seems to help most people, so hopefully you'll find it helpful as well. In today's lesson, we learned how to play the most basic blues pattern, the open shuffle. The critical piece of information you should take away from this is really the timing and understanding the changes that are involved in the 12-bar blues, as this standard form of music comes up in almost every genre, from rock to jazz, blues, country, et cetera, or whatever you want. So I hope that you've enjoyed playing this, and I hope you have fun learning it. If you have any troubles, feel free to private message me back on the site. And that's it for today. See you next time back at the Moose.